Welcome to the deep dive. We've got your sources, and we're ready to dig in and find those key insights. Today, we're looking at some excerpts from Chapter 3, Light, Thought, and the Illusion of Matter. It seems to blend, well, what the author calls an ancient perspective with Walter Russell's cosmic insight.
Yeah, and for you listening, we're really trying to get at this central question. How does the world, the solid stuff we touch and see, how does that arise from what this source describes as a basically mental and energetic universe?
Right. Could be illuminating, maybe even a bit unsettling to your usual view of things.
Definitely. We're aiming for those aha moments, hoping to give you a clear path through these big ideas without it feeling, overwhelming. This is for anyone who wants to get the gist quickly but still feel like they've really grasped something.
Okay, so let's dive right in. The big idea here really turns things on their head. Forget atoms being like tiny billiard balls.
Yeah, that old model.
This source, leaning on Russell, says matter fundamentally is a state of light.
And not just visible light, right?
Yeah.
It's talking about a kind of primary universal energy.
Yeah.
The source material, basically.
Exactly, the very stuff everything comes from.
And what's really interesting is how it links this to a universal mind or a conscious source.
Okay.
The idea being that this consciousness isn't passive. It actually shapes our reality through thought.
How does that work, according to the source?
Well, it talks about this formless light, this energy being sort of slowed down or conditioned. The mechanism is focused intent and rhythmic motion.
Focused intent. Like cosmic thought.
Precisely. And that process is what creates the appearance of solidity, of mass.
Huh. So let's take an example, like a mountain.
Okay.
Instead of just seeing rock, this view suggests it's light. Light that's been massively slowed down, coiled up by this cosmic thought.
Yeah, patterned energy held in form by intent. It really changes how you might perceive something seemingly so permanent, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Wow.
And it's not just mountains, Think about a tree. It's not just wood and leaves. At its root, it's described as light shaped by the divine idea of tree. It's manifesting as this living, rhythmic form.
The living rhythm.
And even closer to home, your own body.
Uh-oh.
It's presented as this incredibly complex but temporary arrangement of that same light, that same energy, held together by consciousness. Your consciousness perhaps is part of the whole.
So this principle is universal then, from like gas between stars to the core of a sun.
That's the idea. Everything physical is just a different state, a different pattern of this one fundamental light or energy, all structured by conscious thought.
It's a big shift.
It is. And it connects back to that ancient perspective the text mentions.
How so?
Well, many older traditions talked about seeing or sensing an energy flow of vibrations underneath the surface of things that seem solid.
Right, like seeing the code beneath the website almost.
Or, the brushstrokes under the paint, or the notes making up the music. The source is careful to say that the reality we experience is real, we interact with it.
But it's made of something else.
Exactly. It's made of light and energy, structured by thought.
Okay, so then Walter Russell comes in with his specific ideas. Light units, or energy units.
Yes. He saw these as the building blocks. Not static little bits, though. More like dynamic centers of activity.
Forming patterns. Geometric and rhythmic ones.
That's right. And the source points out there are some intriguing echoes with modern physics, particles, fields, that sort of thing.
But the origin is different.
Very different. The text stresses that Russell's ideas came from direct cosmic perception, not standard experiments or math.
So these units aren't things, but states.
States of motion, pressure, conditioning, all happening within this unified field of light and consciousness. Think of them like focus points.
Yeah.
Nodes of intense activity, maybe.
Which leads to something pretty radical. Matter isn't passive stuff just sitting there. It's active, constantly being made and unmade.
Through these cosmic rhythms, yes. It's a temporary expression of the underlying consciousness.
So the illusion isn't the world itself, but our perception of it as solid, lasting, and separate.
That's the core of it. Our senses are tuned for survival in this physical realm, so they get, you could say, tricked by this incredibly slowed down light.
Right, they perceive stillness where there's actually a slow dance.
Exactly. And there's a great quote in the source from someone named Zoran about this.
Oh, yeah.
It says, "Solidity is the universe's most convincing magic trick. It is merely light dancing so slowly your eyes perceive stillness."
Wow. The universe's most convincing magic trick.
I like that.
Captures it perfectly, I think.
So how can you, the listener, engage with this The source has an exercise, the dragon trial.
Ah, yes, the practical part.
Okay, so here's what you do. Find a small object, something that feels solid. A key, maybe, or a pen, a small stone.
Okay.
Hold it. Close your eyes. Now try to shift how you're sensing it. Don't just feel the solid shape. Imagine it as vibrating energy, as light slowed way down, coiled up by cosmic thought into this specific form.
Really focus on that. Think about the space inside the object, even if it feels solid. Imagine the dynamic forces holding it together. And then ask yourself, does thinking about it this way change how you feel about the object? Does it shift your sense of it, even slightly, even if it still feels physically solid?
Good question. The source suggests you might want to jot down any impressions that come up. No right or wrong answers, just noticing.
Because, according to the source, really getting this idea matter as light patterned by thought is key to understanding the bigger picture they're painting.
It changes everything. How you see yourself, the world, the whole universe. It suggests things are way more fluid, connected, and, well, conscious than we usually think.
Right. It's not just dead stuff out there.
Not at all from this perspective.
So, wrapping up our deep dive for today, the main takeaway from the source is this idea. The solid world isn't the fundamental reality.
No, fundamentally, it's light, energy, patterned and held in form by a cosmic consciousness or universal mind.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to chew on, building on that dragon trial idea. If the solidity you perceive really is an illusion, created by this slow dance of light and the focus of cosmic thought, what else that seems totally fundamental about your reality might also be just an expression of that deeper energy and consciousness?
That's a big question.
Maybe figuring out matter is just step one, a doorway into exploring reality in a much, much deeper way. Something to think about.